Thank you very much for investing your time with the Business AM and most certainly Metropole Television this morning, your premier business channel in Eastern Central Africa, 24/7 business conversations. Let's therefore talk about business. Now, the contribution of SMEs to the Kenyan economy is undoubtedly known. You can actually see that from the budget 2020-2021, there's a big focus of enabling SMEs go through the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic. Even as it was read, there was this recognition that there are myriad of challenges that have been caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. Good. So the question that remains around that area is, how do we address the challenges with the COVID-19 pandemic? The only answer being that we have to innovate, therefore, to continue with our businesses as we navigate the COVID-19 pandemic. Which therefore begs the question, what are those innovation strategies available for smaller businesses to rely on as they try to charter this, I would say, uncharted territory of the COVID-19 pandemic? Just to help us therefore understand what innovation strategies those are, how to get them, how to understand them and apply them now more than ever. I'm joined by Mr. Mukaya, who is a business coach and a business advisor, who's going to tell us exactly what those are and exactly how you're going to apply them to your small business, if at all you really want to be relevant as the COVID-19 pandemic continues to bite in the global and local economy. Mr. Mukaya, karibu sana.
Thank you so much.
It's glad. It's been quite some time since I saw you, man.
It's been quite some time, but
yes,
we are helping the country to innovate.
Yes.
Out here.
It's a good thing also that now, more than ever, things are getting back to a bit their normal, isn't it? People say that.
Exactly.
Yes.
But what you must know is that things are slowly but surely getting back to a new normal.
Yes.
But I must remind Kenyans that for those businesses and those individuals and even the government departments that want to prepare for the new normal,
yes,
they must also prepare for the new abnormal. Why? Because this is uncertain times. So if you're saying there's a new normal, what if there's a new abnormal? What are you going to do?
Yes. And that's the conversation.
That is the conversation.
Ah, fantastic. So now you're advising businesses, therefore, to rely on innovation strategies just to navigate the COVID-19 pandemic.
Exactly.
When anybody would ask you, Mr. Mukaya, what are these innovation strategies that you're talking about this morning?
First, before you talk about innovation strategy,
yes,
you have to talk about the process of innovation. And also, you have to talk about what is the business model of a particular organization or a particular company, because there's no one single strategy that is a fit for all.
Yes.
So you cannot apply one single strategy for all. But basically, you can narrow them down to about 3 strategies, because a business has its infrastructure and also a business has its products.
Yes.
So you could have the use of the same infrastructure, but you go you look at your distribution channel. So in your distribution channel, you can change the channels. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Basically, like what does education industry offer? Education, right?
Yes.
As a service.
Yes.
If I need education, I need to sit down in a lecture hall. I need to sit down in a classroom, and the tutor, the teacher, or the lecturer gives me the lesson. But right now, everybody is learning from home. About 1.5 billion learners are at home.
Yes.
From kindergarten to university. So those institutions of learning that innovate, they have used they are giving the same service, but they're using a different channel. That is the online channel.
Yes.
I've heard about the government of Kenya saying, we don't want to rely on online learning because some parts of this country are not connected. You see, the government also needs to innovate, and the government, specifically the government of Kenya, missed a big opportunity to innovate when in the Jubilee Manifesto they talked about digital learning, mm-hmm, and then they even allocated money for digital learning and procuring of digital gadgets, and then the whole project vanished into thin air. And this would have been a very sweet moment for Kenyan learners. So you imagine the whole country is suffering because of one single decision of not capturing the moment, of not innovating in time. And the Japanese talk about the just-in-time policy.
Yes.
So as we also talk about innovation, we must not only mostly rely on just the process of innovation or the product or the service. We also have to have a vision for innovation. Because if you don't have a vision, then you're innovating in the darkness. You must learn to have a culture of innovation in your organization. Do you have a design thinking team? Do you have the process of ideation? Do you have the process of formulating new ideas? Do you embrace a culture of failure? Because the secret of innovation is failure. If you ask Thomas Edison, if you were to resurrect right now, and if you were to ask him what contributed to his success of giving us the light bulb, it is because of failure. And he turned around failure to become the stepping stone to an innovation that has been used since time immemorial and will continue using it, right?
Yes.
But if you try 5 times and you don't get a product or a service, or you don't get it the right way in your organization, and then you are the CEO, you say, you guys, you're fired. You see, that is what happens in most organizations because there is no culture of embracing failure. You know, you have to take a calculated risk sometimes, and that is part and parcel of the innovation process. Because how are you going to innovate, or how are you going to empower your team to innovate if you're not allowing them to experiment, to try new ideas, to see which one works and which one does not work? Because as I said earlier, no single innovation or no single idea fits every business. So if you're getting some young folks to come to your organization to come up with a new idea of maybe selling your product, marketing your product, you know, expanding your market, then give them the space, give them the resources, and give them the freedom. Most of the times, managers don't give their staff freedom. They don't give their teams freedom. They want to have them in a rigid framework where they want to apply rules that have been applied from the centuries of yesteryears. But if you have to talk about, sanitizing our innovation strategies in the era of COVID-19, if you look at it critically, you see, COVID-19 is even more innovative than some of us. So if we have to survive this era, then we have to be more innovative than COVID-19.
Pretty much, isn't it?
Exactly.
I want to take you to another area that you've mentioned, that you have to rely on your existing structure, isn't it?
Exactly.
So a smaller business is going to ask you, Mr. Mukaya, well, our business structure has been probably selling directly to customers.
Exactly.
I was saying, well, how is it possible to rely on this structure if indeed you're saying that you got to change if it is not working right now, in view of limiting your expenditure as well?
In view of limiting your expenditure, we are lucky we live in a country that already, in some way, we had some well-known innovation of M-Pesa, because every business relies on payment to suppliers, payment to the company, and so on. So in terms of payment, with your cell phone, you are good to go. And even the US, the German, and the other the Western countries, they are marveling at the M-Pesa innovation. So kudos to Safaricom, and for the good work that you're doing in matters of money transfer. Then what you have to leverage on is the existing technology, like Safaricom's M-Pesa. So, you as a company, as an SME, you do not need to invent another mode of payment. You do not need to reinvent the wheel. If you're sourcing your products from a particular manufacturer, now you need to order them online. If you are channeling your products to particular customers, you can now think about home deliveries. You're using your same infrastructure, but now you can think outside the box. How am I going to deliver? I need more and more home deliveries. So I need to do more of logistics. And you don't also need to have your own logistics company. These services are out here. You can talk even with the local, border people. They are very efficient. You only need to organize them, tell them this is what my company is doing, train them. We also, if it's logistics, we have border people who can deliver to every single corner of this republic. So here we are. We have Boda, we have M-Pesa, and you have your product. What else do you want? If it's services, now you can go online through Zoom, through these other applications that allow video conferencing. You can be able to, channel whatever service or whatever product. I'm talking about retail, for example. In China, even before the COVID-19,
yes,
they started what we call live stream shopping or retail. In the retail sector, they started live stream shopping, where you as the seller,
yes,
you live stream the products that you sell, and the buyer can be able to have a view. Now that has gone a notch higher. We have artificial intelligence. What artificial intelligence is opening new domains, new frontiers, so that with your live stream shopping right now, if I need a suit like this from Italy, I can, with the comfort of my cell phone, I can use an application that I can take my photo and then send it to the retailer in Italy, and using artificial intelligence, that designer configures the suit to fit exactly to my body size, and it is shipped.
Yes.
So there's nothing that is not possible in the world of innovation, and that is why, for those of you who remember Steve Jobs, he said that innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower. And that is why if I put if I put a Nokia here and an iPhone, you'll go for the iPhone.
Pretty much.
Why?
Yes.
Because of the innovative features that it has.
Yes.
It has distinguished itself from the rest of the pack. It's a market leader in the cell phone industry, in the premium cell phone industry. Why? And you are ready to pay whatever price that has been tagged on the iPhone as compared to the other phones.
Yes.
Why? Because there are innovative features in this phone, courtesy of the design of Steve Jobs.
Pretty much, isn't it? Another question that you're going to run into now is, do we need to innovate our products now to fit the needs of the people right now? Is that also an essential part of your innovation strategy as well? Or no, just stick to your product, just innovate the way in which you do your business around this product?
Okay. About the products, yes, there's need for innovation as well.
Because in what way would
there's disruption,
yes,
right?
Yes.
There's disruption because you find that the demand for particular products right now is not as high as the demand for other products.
I see.
We need more ventilators in our hospitals.
Yes.
We need more hospital beds. We need more masks. And what some companies have done, like the General Electric, General Motors, with the same automobile technology, infrastructure, that is the same technology that you can use to make a ventilator. So what have they done?
Yes.
They have stopped production lines of vehicles and they have gone into production of ventilators. So you can innovate as well by changing your product line. See, what does the market demand right now in this pandemic? We need more ventilators. We need more hospital beds. We need more masks. You go that line because already you have the technology.
Yes.
So what some companies need just to do is to get the right business advice or the right mindset of innovation, and they're good to go.
Pretty much. Another business is going to tell you, yes, we're a smaller business, and there's a key focus here this morning on smaller businesses, Mr. Mukaya. They will tell you, well, it's really good what you're doing here, but when you look at changing your innovation strategies right now as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, which one outweighs the other in that order? Is it the risks that you're running into, because then you might know nothing is that has 100% promise that's going to actually to work, isn't it?
Exactly.
So how do you view it? Is it the pros versus the cons before you approach this innovation strategy, or it is, well, right now the market needs innovation, let's do it whatever come may?
Okay, and just to take you back, right now we're in a pandemic, but it is not right now that we need innovation. This innovation should have come earlier, and innovation is supposed to be a culture, and that is where most of our businesses fail, including small and big businesses. That is why they fail, because they wait until a particular moment when there's a crisis for them to start thinking about new ways of doing things.
Yes.
As I gave the example of our government that does not have shortage of advice.
Yes.
And it can read the mood of the market, it can read the mood of the times, that in the 21st century, we must use innovative ways of delivering our education. But the government sat back and let the moment go.
Yes.
It would have been a classic example of a government that in Africa became the first to leverage on this digital infrastructure to give education to our learners. But that has not happened. So what happens now? We go back to the drawing board. But for small businesses, you just don't need to think so much. You just need to stay simple. And innovation, as it is not, as the word sounds big, it's not really a big thing. You know, that little guy who innovated a hand washing machine that does not need hands-on, or you don't need to touch it for it to spill the water for you to wash your hands.
Yes.
And it's in a village somewhere in Kenya. That is an innovation, so that instead of using your hand, maybe you pedal or you step on the hand washing equipment, and then the water comes down and you wash your hands. And what the guy needed is pieces of wood, some nails, you know, a container holding water.
And that was pretty much it.
And if you prototype that, you
Yes.
take it to the mass production,
Yes.
you're going to have so many products
Yes.
that you can sell at, you know, very good profit.
Yes.
So innovation does not need you to innovate a rocket science or to create a rocket for you to go to the moon. The rockets have been created. Only what you need to do is to create a simple, you know, design that improves on our existing, you know, equipment, on our existing products, on our existing services. Just do it a little better, or better still, radically shift and give us a new product.
Pretty much.
You can do that.
All right. Now, another question that smaller businesses are going to ask you now is that, well, there's this innovation that also now needs you to sort of change your business model as a whole to fit what the market needs right now. Now, we'll talk to you about essential services under the COVID-19 pandemic. Is it possible, Mr. Mugaya, this morning, for you to say, well, maybe what we offer right now is not that much needed within the economy as we go by the COVID-19 pandemic? Where can we fit ourselves into in terms of what majority of the people are looking for? Is it also possible to look at it from that perspective? And are you telling businesses, yes, that's an area that you need to look at right now in terms of your innovation strategies?
Exactly.
Yes.
You know, there is a whole spectrum of ideas, and you can look at it from whatever particular angle. You see, this is what majority of the people in the market need. This is what we have.
Yes.
This is what we can offer. So can we try to launch a new product line, even without stopping the production of what you're still producing?
Yes.
Maybe you scale it down and scale up the production of that product, like the mask production that is needed in the vast majority of our region.
Yes.
So you can scale it up more and stop producing more of what you've been producing. If you've been producing cars, maybe produce fewer cars, produce more ventilators, produce fewer clothes. If you're a textile company, maybe because people are not buying more of the normal clothes or
Yes.
the normal, you know, stuff that we buy as textiles, and maybe you produce more PPEs. You produce more personal protective equipment for our healthcare workers. You can produce the coats, you know, whatever they put on the head, you know. Read the mood of the market, and most businesses, and smaller businesses especially, can be able to fit in this pandemic by producing what the market needs.
Yes.
You do not need even to go for training for you to produce a mask. Just by watching a simple YouTube video, you can be able to produce a mask. So you can work from the comfort of your living room, or
Yes.
if you like, your bedroom.
Yes, pretty much.
And produce
You're actually,
what the market needs.
Yes, getting into this market.
Yeah, so
Pretty much.
there's so much
Yes.
that, you know, there's so much opportunity in this crisis. So every crisis has, you know, two sides. It has the advantage and the disadvantage. So for COVID-19, it has, you know, made us to all stay at home. But as you stay at home, you also think critically, how can I come with a new business model? How can I come with something that can disrupt the market? But also, there are some essential services like food or food supply, the hospitality industry. So right now that most restaurants are closed, most big hotels are closed, that opens up space for the small business owner to be able, or even an individual, to be able to do home deliveries of food. As I said earlier, we are lucky that we live in a country that has two important things. One is the logistics in terms of the boda
Yes.
or the Ubers and the tax files, and also the Safaricom M-Pesa or whatever mobile money transfer service there is. Even the banks have now integrated with the mobile money transfer, so even those clients who want to pay through the bank, they can seamlessly transfer through the M-Pesa and other mobile money transfer services. So leveraging on all already existing innovations, we can be able to come up with new business models, and from the comfort of your kitchen at home, you can deliver food to your neighborhood. So what is stopping young people who are saying, oh, there are no jobs in Kenya, we have been laid off, we are waiting for manna to drop from heaven. But you see, these are not the times of Moses. So we need to think outside the box, or think without the box.
Or think without the box.
Yes.
Mr. Mukaya, it's always a pleasure speaking to you, by the way. There is no better way to start the day today. That is Mr. Mukaya telling you exactly what innovation strategies you need now more than ever to make sure that your business is relevant. And he's saying, if you don't innovate now within the COVID-19 pandemic, if you don't look at your infrastructure and know exactly the way you're going to run it down now, I mean the COVID-19 pandemic, you're one of those people going to cry and say, no jobs, bad business environment. Re-strategize, target your business, change it, because the environment is changing, so change with it. Remember, text us live 20146. Any question that you have for him, guess what? I know we'll be sending it to him, and then responses will be coming directly to you. Anyway, you can actually take him back to when he came to the studio at Metropole TVKE across all the social media platforms that you are exposed to. We take a little break, but once we come back, it is Budget 2020-2021. This morning, we are looking at the tax policies. Who has been exempted? What has been hit, and how do you align your businesses within these new tax measures for Budget 2020-2021. You're still watching Metropole Television.